Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some holiday Reddit. All right, folks. Our first letter is titled, "Will I be a jerk if I walk my sister down the aisle?" I'm a 24-year-old male, and I have an amazing relationship with my stepsister Nina, a 29-year-old female. Her wedding is coming up next year, and for the past 2 months, she's been telling me that she has a non-traditional role for me in mind. We're really close, so I was under the impression that Nina wants me to be her man of honor or something else traditionally performed by a woman, and I was okay with it. Well, last week she finally told me that she wants me to walk her down the aisle instead of my dad, her stepfather, or her bio dad. I was surprised by her request, even though I know very well that she doesn't have a good relationship with either of them. But it was really touching, and I agreed. We were going to keep it a secret until next year, but word somehow got out. A few people already knew, but we don't know who told. And both my dad, Nina's bio dad, and even our mother, stepmother for me, are really mad about it. They said that it should be one of their fathers who walk her down the aisle, and that it will look ridiculous if I do since I'm younger than Nina. So, am I or are we in the wrong? All right, folks. Before we begin, I just want to have a brief intermission. So, in the comments recently, one person mentioned that I kind of cut Amber off when I was talking, and I think that was actually a good point to address. So, if you're new here, Amber and I have a pretty conversational type of back and forth on these things.
We talk over each other all the time. So
Yeah.
like it's I don't know that it really is one of us more than the other. Like I will interrupt Brian and
Wait,
he'll
let me stop you. Just kidding.
well, no, you have to cuz like I talk and talk and talk cuz I have things I want to say. And so if he doesn't talk over me, then he doesn't get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, so sometimes, well, we're both very strong personality, and so if you're worried that I'm like talking over Amber and that she might be offended, she hopefully she isn't.
Oh, it's fine.
We both do a lot of talking over each other, like she said, so don't worry. It's just kind of we have a means of communication, so sometimes we know that we have to jump in or something like that. So I do appreciate the concern, and I think that was actually something that was really good to address. But I just want to assure you that I do not have Amber under duress here answering this. So what do you folks think? Jerk or not the jerk?
I'm gonna say not the jerk. I think that's really touching that your sister wants to incorporate you in this way.
Yeah, yeah.
And she has a good relationship with you and not with the dads. Like, it's really silly to want someone who she doesn't have a good relationship to do something so important at her wedding.
Well, that's it, I think, is that this is her wedding and she should be able to make those calls. And one thing that OP does mention in the comments, and I did read about this, is that they come from a really conservative area, and so it's kind of unheard of to have non-traditional roles, period. So, but I don't think that should be a factor at all. I think it should be whatever OP's sister is comfortable with.
Right, exactly. You know, if she doesn't mind if they're the talk of the town a little bit for having a non-traditional wedding, then that's perfectly fine. And don't worry about it, OP. Like, as long as you're happy and your stepsister's happy, that's all that matters.
Exactly. They'll get used to it and they'll get over it. And the thing is, like, if haven't taken the time to repair the relationship with her, then this is kind of on them.
Yeah, and they don't deserve that honor. And you do.
Yeah. So anyhow, take care, good luck, and I hope your sister has a really good wedding. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for saying that I'll not attend the family Christmas since I can't afford it?" And this one has a wholesome update. So we'll read this and then we'll read the update and then we'll talk about it. Throwaway account. My family has always spent the Christmas together at our parents' house. Last year was the first year we spent it at my brother, a 20s male, and his wife's, a 20 females. Due to being it their first time, they were understandably very stressed and had troubles getting things together, especially taking into account dietary restrictions. Well, last year, I, a female in my 20s, didn't live in the same city as them, so I couldn't really help with the preparations, but this year I do. Since I'm a student, the money is tight, but my brother and sister-in-law earn extremely well even compared to our parents. When we spent Christmas at our parents', we didn't have to contribute financially towards the feast, but this year the costs are shared by our parents and them. As I can't afford it, my compensation is the organization and cooking of the feast, as none of them enjoy such things. This is not a small task since I'll have to start the preparation days before Christmas and do everything on my own. However, since I'm not the one paying for the meal, I have shared my plans a week ago with all of them and they have agreed on the menu. Well, a couple days ago, I sat down and calculated out how much this would all cost and sent the family the info. This did not go down well with my brother. He is extremely frugal, which is fine and all, but the cost of the feast is the same as it has been for every year. Mind you, it's nothing crazy, and honestly, but the cost is more than a regular everyday meal. I said fine, we can cut something back if he wants, and asked what he wanted to give up. He chose the one thing that I wanted to make for myself as a treat, since almost everything else is something that I can't eat, but the rest of them can eat all of it. I said okay, anything else, but he said that he didn't want to get up anything else. I asked him if he was serious that my dish would be the only one that we would get rid of, and not one of their multiple sides. I didn't want to eat only potatoes and a salad. His response was that it was also expensive, and since it's something that most of us wouldn't eat anyways, it didn't make sense to make it. My brother pulled the same move last year, and my mother put her foot down and forced my brother to include me. Since then, he has constantly told us how we are so emotional and stir up unnecessary drama. So, to his opinion, I said it's fine, I'll just not attend and spend Christmas by myself since I can't afford to pay for the dish since I already provide my main. My brother got mad and said that that's not what he meant. I replied that this would be the most elegant solution to the problem since the feast would be cheaper and I wouldn't have to work so hard for a meal that I can't eat. And this would have the added bonus of not causing too much drama since I do so voluntarily, knowing that I probably am just a jerk for this. He got super mad at me while my mother got mad at him and decided to spend Christmas at my place. Now everyone is mad at everyone, but I'm honestly just mainly sad and feel like I ruined everyone's Christmas. Am I the jerk? This one is the update. First of all, thank you all for the comments on my original post, even for the ones which deemed me the jerk. I tried to respond to all of them, but after like the 100th comment, it became hard to keep up, but I did read all of them. For those who are interested, I have something to update on my family, Christmas, and my brother. He called yesterday and wanted to come over to talk. When he got here, he started by apologizing on his part of the argument and admitting that he acted poorly. He told me that he hadn't really paid much attention to the menu since I was in charge of it, and thus when he suggested that we cut out my side, he didn't realize that I would have practically nothing else to eat, and in the heat of the moment, he just couldn't take that into account. He then went on to tell me something that I didn't quite expect for him, since he didn't really talk about those kinds of things. I won't go into too much detail, but when I was a baby and he was young, our family went through some financial hardships. I'm too young to remember it, but it left a mark on him. He said that this is what is behind his reaction and that he was sorry for letting his anxieties get a hold of him. He did reassure me that his intention wasn't to exclude me. He offered to pay for my side and asked me if there's anything else I wanted to have, but I told him that I was fine with this side. As there was some concern regarding the division of labor and me paying for my own meal when theirs was included in the family budget, I did raise the issue and said, however, I would appreciate it if they pitched in a bit more in terms of labor. He agreed and said that we really should include my main in the budget as well. So I told him that I would send him the recipes and instructions and would be available for advice if they needed it. I'm still doing most of the labor, but I consider this fair and not a hardship. They'll do the dishes after, though, and I hate those. I also asked what made him think about his actions, and he told me that it was really hard not to come to the realization that he acted poorly when everyone he cares about was mad at him, including his wife. And on top of that, he didn't feel good about the thought of leaving things like that, and not having me over at Christmas. So yeah, I don't think I cut him too much slack in the end, even though if some of people thought so. He can be a little misguided sometimes, but he is not a bad person. It's just sometimes it takes a little bit of time for him to come around. There's definitely work to be done regarding him respecting other people's opinions, but I have hope for him still. I did apologize for my actions too, so don't worry about that. I wasn't completely blameless in how things progressed after all. So I guess that means that we will have our family Christmas despite this hiccup. We might try to figure out a solution that's fair for all next Christmas, be it a potluck or something else. Anyways, I do hope that everyone has a wonderful holiday, and thank you all again for the comments. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I'm glad that they were able to work things out because the original setup was not very good and fair for OP.
No, I think that this is a much more fair distribution of labor. I think this is also much more fair for OP in general. And they're going through college. They're not going to have the same kind of money. But it was really good that their brother came forward and was like, hey, this is something internal to me, and that I just have a really hard time because I get stressed out about food insecurity. And that's a hard place to be at. I mean, I understand that.
Yeah.
So I think that in the end, it worked out great. I don't even know if we need to judge this one. That it's a Christmas miracle. 2 days in a row. Anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I have some tea here, thanks to Amber, who also has a joke. She looks like she has a joke on the tip of her tongue. She looks like she doesn't need our very super silly riddle book in order to come up with her own joke.
I wanted something festive. So, what did Santa Cat say?
What did Santa Cat say? Santa Cat didn't say anything because Santa Cat is a cat dressed up in a Santa suit, and it's just a plain old cat. There's no magic here. It's a cat. It goes meow. And sometimes it goes down the chimney and up the drapes. But that's about it. What did the Santa Cat say?
Meowie Christmas.
It didn't say that. You're a liar. We know this is not true.
Santa Cat totally said that. I was there.
And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you all had a good episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're all having a great celebration today if you celebrate the holiday on today. If not, then I hope everything is going well for you in general. So happy holidays, and I guess we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays, Happy New Year.
We'll see you before New Year's.
We will, on our live stream.
On our live stream. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Saying That I'll Not Attend the Christmas Family... the Christmas Family